Something's wrong tonight. It's not just the weird static on the board or the way the lights over the console keep flickering like they're tired. It's deeper than that. Like the air itself's gotten heavier, you know? Like the whole building's holding its breath. At first, I thought it was just me. Thought maybe I was losing it after one too many long shifts. Sitting in here alone, talking into the dark, it messes with your head after a while. But then I noticed the clock, the one right above the station window, the one that's been ticking steady since I started working here. It's stuck, 3:15, not moving, not even twitching. I checked my phone too, just to be sure, and yeah, same thing. Frozen, locked up like time decided to call it quits without telling the rest of us. Tried calling out on the line, asking if anyone else was seeing it, but nothing. No ringing, no pickup. Just this dead, bloated silence hanging between me and whatever's left out there. That's when the first email came through. Just one sentence. Traffic frozen mid-motion. Drivers still at the wheel. No one moving. No name. No signature. No explanation. Just that. And then another. And another. Same thing. Different cities. Different streets. Different lives. All stopped. All frozen like someone pressed pause on the world and forgot to hit play again. I keep refreshing the inbox. Keep waiting for something normal to pop up. A pizza coupon. A spam message. Anything stupid and harmless, but it's just more reports. More cities. More silence. Feels like I'm the last guy left talking, the last voice before everything locks up. I'm sitting here, mic hot, dead air stretching out like a crack in the floor, wondering how much longer I've got before whatever's out there reaches me too. Feels like I'm standing on a frozen lake, hearing the ice groan under my boots, knowing the next step could be the one that drops me straight through. And there's no one left to hear me fall. I keep thinking maybe it's a glitch. Maybe it's some freak power surge, some weird network thing knocking everything offline. Maybe when the lights flicker and the clocks stall, it's just broken tech, not broken time. But I know better now. About 20 minutes ago, someone called in. Voice shaking so bad I could barely make out what he was saying at first. Said he was stuck downtown, sitting in his truck at a red light. Said the light never changed. Stayed frozen red while the cars ahead of him just stopped. Not parked. Not pulled over. Stopped right where they were, some in the middle of intersections, some half turned onto side streets, like they started to go and then forgot how. People, too. Said he saw a woman halfway across the crosswalk, one foot lifted like she was about to step down. Purse swinging mid-air like someone paused her in the middle of a movie. He honked. Nothing. He screamed her name. Nothing. She didn't even blink. Just locked there. He tried getting out, tried running over, but the second he touched her, he said it felt like he got shoved back. Not by her, by something colder than anything he's ever felt. Like the air around her wasn't air anymore. Like it was glass. Tried to ask where he was now, but the call dropped. Just a dead click that made my stomach twist up. And it's not just him. More calls are trickling in when the lines hold. Stories about people mid-step, mid-sentence, mid-laugh, just frozen. One woman said she was walking her dog when it happened. Said the leash snapped tight because the dog stopped moving completely. Legs stiff. Eyes wide open. Chest frozen mid-breath. She tugged and tugged, begging it to snap out of it, but it didn't even twitch. Eventually, she let go of the leash and ran. Said she didn't even look back. Couldn't. And the worst part? It's spreading. Started in the city centers. Now it's hitting the suburbs. Little by little. Neighborhood by neighborhood. Street by street. The world's getting quieter. Not normal quiet. Dead quiet. The kind where you realize how much noise life usually makes without you noticing. The buzz of lights, the hum of cars, the distant bark of a dog, all of it thinning out, fading, and I'm stuck here, mic open, signal live, trying to keep talking like it's gonna hold the silence back somehow, like my voice is a shield. But the silence is stronger than me. It's patient, it's winning. I can feel it pressing against the station windows now, waiting for me to run out of words. And when I do, when the last word slips through my teeth, I think I'll freeze too. The silence outside keeps getting heavier, like it's soaking into the walls now. And the clocks, they're still wrong, not just stuck. It's worse than that. They're forgetting. I'm not even sure what time it is anymore. One clock says 3:15, another says 7:02. My phone, when it decides to light up, flashes random numbers for half a second, like it's trying to guess but keeps getting it wrong. The digital ones are worse. They don't even pretend to tick. The numbers just sit there, mocking me, a dead reminder that whatever's happening isn't normal. Tried to set a timer earlier. Thought, maybe if I set one, I could at least track how long I've been talking. Keep myself grounded. Keep the rhythm alive. But the timer never moved. I hit start, watched it for a full minute, and the numbers didn't even flicker, like time itself got bored and walked away. Got a call not long after that. A woman whispering into the phone like she was scared someone would hear her. Said she worked at a hospital across town. Said they noticed. Hit first in the ICU. Machines froze up. Beeping monitors just locked on one flat note, like a bad dream they couldn't wake up from. V drips froze mid-drip. She said she saw a nurse frozen in the hallway, arm outstretched, mouth half open, still trying to say something that never came out. They tried moving patients, tried evacuating. Didn't matter. They were too slow. The silence swallowed half the floor before they even reached the stairwell. When I asked where she was calling from, she said she didn't know anymore. Said she could still see the hospital, still see the parking lot, but everything was different. Blurry around the edges, like she was standing inside a painting someone forgot to finish. Then the line went dead. No click, no dial tone. Just this low, deep hum that soaked into the mic and stayed there a second too long. It's not just the big places either. Gas stations, grocery stores, sidewalks, the whole world's cracking apart. Little pieces of normal life, breaking off and drifting into nothing, and there's no way to tell how much time's even passing between it all. Minutes, hours, could be days already, and I'd never know. The clocks have forgotten how to count. The sky's not changing. The sun should have come up by now, but the horizon's just stuck in that weird, bruised purple before dawn. It's like the whole planet's balancing on the edge of a second that refuses to end. And me? I'm still talking, still keeping the mic hot, still clinging to the sound of my own voice like it's the last thread tying me to the real world. But I can feel it slipping. Feel the silence pressing closer with every word. Feels like any second, now, it's going to reach inside my mouth and pull the words right out of my throat. And when that happens, when there's no voice left to fill the dead air, what's left? Right after I finished talking last time, the board lit up. Just for a second. Just one call. I almost didn't answer it. Thought maybe it was just another deadline. Another whisper swallowed by whatever's eating up the time out there. But something in me, I don't know. It made me pick up. Guy's voice came through, rough and scared but steady enough. Said he was stuck on a train, heading into the city when it all started. Said he was sitting there, listening to some podcast, not really paying attention, when he noticed something weird. The hum of the train started getting longer, not louder, just stretched out, like a song played on the wrong speed. He looked up and saw it, The city outside the window. Frozen. Cars stuck in the middle of intersections. People on the sidewalks like mannequins. A kid chasing a dog mid-run. Frozen like somebody hit pause and forgot about them. But the train kept moving. Slow. Real slow, like it was fighting the air. He said the people inside started freezing too. First, the guy across the aisle caught mid-turn trying to say something about his phone not working. Then the lady 2 seats back flipping through a magazine that just stopped moving in her hands. Page half-turned forever. He kept trying to get someone's attention, but nobody looked up, nobody blinked, nobody breathed. He swore he could hear his own heartbeat louder than anything else. Said he ran to the next car, thinking maybe it was just a glitch. Maybe he could find the conductor or someone still moving. But when he opened the door between cars, the fog was there. Not real fog. More like heavy air, like syrup, thick and slow and waiting. He slammed the door and ran back to his seat. Watched the world outside get swallowed up inch by inch. Train started slowing then. Not like a brake pulling it back. More like the whole thing forgot how to move. He said he could see the next station up ahead, frozen too. A guy leaning against a vending machine. A woman feeding coins into a parking meter. All stuck. All waiting. And the train. It just coasted. Slower and slower until it stopped. Dead still, right in the middle of nowhere. And he's still there. Sitting in the last car. Watching the frozen city through fogged-up windows. Waiting for whatever's coming next. He asked me what to do. I didn't have an answer. Told him to keep moving if he could, stay awake, stay sharp, keep breathing, even when everything around him tries to convince him he's already gone. Because if he stops, if he freezes too, I don't think there's any coming back. And now I'm sitting here, mic still hot, watching the little red light on the console pulse like a heartbeat. And outside the booth window, the fog's thicker, the world's quieter. Feels like the station's floating in a bubble just waiting to pop. And me, I'm still talking, still fighting the stillness one word at a time, even if no one's left to hear it. Right after I hung up, with the guy on the train, I sat there for a long minute just listening. No music, no commercials, just the hum of the equipment and my own heartbeat pounding way too loud in my ears. And I realized something. The sounds. They're breaking. It's subtle at first. You wouldn't notice if you weren't listening for it. But when you hear it, when you finally catch it, it's like a crack running straight through the middle of everything. Birds outside? Frozen mid-flap. Their wings stuck in the air like someone forgot to hit play again. Cars still humming, engines still running, but the sound is off. Like it's delayed. Like you see the engine rev, and then half a second later you hear it. Voices too. I caught a glimpse of someone down the street earlier, a man yelling into his phone. At least, I think he was yelling. His mouth moved, arms flailing like he was screaming at the sky, but there was no sound. Not until I walked away. Then, about 10 paces later, I heard it. A ragged, broken shout that didn't match anything real anymore. It's like the sound is stuck too. Lagging behind, fractured, a listener called in right after that. Said he was working night shift security at a mall across town when it hit. Said he saw the shoppers freeze first. Kids mid-laugh, teens, posing for selfies they'll never finish. Parents half-scolding toddlers that'll never hear the end of it. But the sounds, they kept going. Music still piped through the mall speakers. Pop songs warped slow and deep like the tape was melting. The fountain kept gurgling, but the water didn't move. Elevators dinged their arrival, but the doors stayed shut. He said he tried calling his wife, but the ringtone just stretched out forever. One long, broken note. He stayed locked in the security office until the power flickered, until the video feeds turned to static. And now he's hunkered down with a baseball bat and a flashlight, staring at the emergency exit and wondering if the world outside the mall even exists anymore. I don't know what to tell him. I don't know what to tell any of us. Because if sound and motion don't line up anymore, if reality itself's forgetting how to sync together, how do we even know we're still moving, still breathing, still real? Maybe we're all just echoes now. Memories of ourselves playing back on a busted, old loop, waiting for the last skip of the record to finally stop. And me? I'm still talking, still filling the air with noise because maybe, just maybe, if I stop, if I fall silent even for a second, I'll freeze too. And whatever's watching from outside the glass will finally step through. I can feel it getting closer now. It's not a guess. It's not me being paranoid. It's real. Something out there, whatever's been swallowing the cities one by one, it's moving in. Earlier tonight, people were still sending me updates, little pockets of information, scattered messages from listeners way out in the sticks who could still drive around. They were trying to map it out, figure out where the frozen zones were, where you could still move freely. One guy said he drove north for 3 straight hours, didn't see a single frozen street, no stuck cars, no hanging birds, no warped sounds. Thought maybe he was safe. Then he stopped at an old gas station to fuel up. Got halfway inside the store before he noticed the cashier. Guy was stuck mid-swipe, dragging a pack of gum across the scanner that never beeped. Frozen perfect, like a wax figure. And outside, the sky was heavier, not darker, not stormy, just weighted down, like the clouds were made of wet cement and about to fall on him. He ran, didn't even grab the gas, just jumped back in his truck and drove until he couldn't tell which direction he came from anymore. He's still out there somewhere, trying to stay ahead of whatever's chewing through the world behind him. He said it's like watching ink spill across paper. Starts small, spreads faster than you can react. And if you don't keep moving, if you hesitate for even a second, it catches you. I pulled up the station's old emergency map a while ago, started marking the places we lost. First, it was the big cities, then the towns surrounding them, then the highways, the back roads, the neighborhoods. No one ever talks about unless you grew up there. It's not random either. It's a pattern, a slow, careful sweep across the map like somebody erasing us street by street. And the line, the border between the frozen world and whatever's still. Clinging to life? It's less than 15 miles away now. Probably closer, and it's moving faster. It's like the longer we hang on, the more desperate it gets to finish what it started. I thought maybe the station would be safe for a while. Out here on the edge of nowhere, tucked between empty fields and half-dead forests. But I'm starting to think the edge doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter how far you run when the thing chasing you isn't limited by roads or fences or oceans. It's chasing. Time itself, and time's not moving anymore. Can feel it. Every second that stretches a little too long. Every word that sticks a little too heavy in my throat. Every heartbeat that feels like it's waiting for permission to keep going. I'm still here, still moving, still speaking. But the world outside? It's already gone. It's weird. The little things you notice when everything else stops working the way it should. I was sitting here, trying to figure out how much longer the station could hold out, when I saw it. My breath, hanging in the air. Not just for a second, either. It stayed there. Frozen, suspended. Little cloud of fog right in front of my mouth, stuck like a bad special effect in an old movie. I waved my hand through it, trying to scatter it, and it didn't even move. Just hung there. Untouched, and for a second I swear I could feel it pulling at me, like if I stood too close, If I breathed out again, my next breath might just stop too. Might never leave my lungs. Might get locked inside me like everything else. Tried not to think about it too much. Tried to just focus on the mic, the board, the tiny red light still blinking next to me like a heartbeat. But it's getting harder. The air's thicker. The walls feel closer. And the listeners, they're getting fewer. Less calls now. More dead air when I ask for check-ins. And the ones who do call in, their voices sound wrong, slower, stretched out. One guy said he watched his neighbor step out onto his porch earlier today, coffee mug in hand, ready to start his morning. Said the guy took one sip, smiled at the sunrise, and froze. Mid-sip, mid-smile. Mug hanging in midair like it weighed nothing at all. The steam from the coffee hanging right there above the rim, not rising, not fading. Just stuck. Another woman called in crying, said she was driving to pick up her kid from a sleepover when she hit the edge. The moment where time just stopped. Said the trees lining the road were frozen mid-sway, leaves stuck halfway between green and gold. She slammed on the brakes, but the car didn't stop right away. Kept gliding forward, like the road was made of glass. She swerved, crashed into a frozen pickup truck parked sideways across the highway. Said the sound of the crash came half a second too late. Said when she stumbled out of her car, the air felt thick, like syrup. Said she could see the edge of the freeze moving toward her, creeping slow but steady. She ran. I don't know if she made it. The call dropped before she could finish. And now I'm sitting here, counting my breaths, watching the next puff of air hang frozen in front of me. Wondering how much longer I've got before I'm just another statue in a world full of them. Wondering if maybe I'm already halfway gone and just too stubborn to notice. I'm not ready to stop. Not yet. Still talking, still fighting, still breathing. Even if every breath feels a little more wrong than the last. It's getting harder to think straight. Harder to keep the words flowing. Feels like there's gaps now. Like little blank spots opening up between my thoughts. I'll be talking, saying something, and then nothing. Just dead space. No idea what I was about to say. No clue how I even got from one word to the next. It's not like forgetting. It's like skipping. Like reality starting to stutter, and it's not just me. I got a call a little while ago. Voice low and cracked, like he hadn't spoken in hours. Said he was walking through the edge of the frozen zone trying to find a way out when he started noticing the gaps. Said the world wasn't just stopping anymore. It was cracking. Little fractures in the air. He'd be walking down the street, and suddenly the sidewalk would just vanish for a second. Blink out. Not even a hole or anything. Just gone. And when it came back, it wasn't quite the same. Street signs misspelled. Houses with windows in the wrong places. Trees growing sideways. He said it felt like walking through a dream where nothing's quite where it should be, but you don't realize it until you look too close. He kept going anyway. Had to. Said every time he stopped, the cracks got closer, started reaching for him. Stretching. Trying to pull him into whatever was hiding on the other side. And the worst part? He said he could hear voices inside the cracks. Not screams, not shouts, just whispers. Soft and steady. Telling him it's easier to let go. Telling him it's okay to stop fighting. That there's a place waiting for him where time never runs out. And nothing ever hurts again. He ran. Ran until his legs gave out and he collapsed in the middle of an empty road. When he looked up, he said the world had stitched itself back together, mostly, but it wasn't the same. Colors a little duller, sounds a little slower, breath a little heavier. And somewhere deep in the fog behind him, the cracks were still stretching, still reaching, still waiting. I don't know where he is now. The line went dead not long after he finished. Another voice swallowed up by the growing spaces in between. And me? I'm sitting here, staring at the walls, feeling the same fractures sliding through the edges of my vision. Little places where the light bends wrong, where the shadows don't move when they're supposed to, where the seconds stretch out like chewing gum and never quite snap back. I'm still here, still talking, still filling the air with something, even if the space between my words is growing wider by the minute. I've been sitting here trying to convince myself that whatever's out there, it's mechanical, some natural glitch in the world, a breakdown we just don't understand yet. But after tonight, I can't lie to myself about that anymore, because not everything freezes. Some things, they're still moving. A woman called in about an hour ago, voice barely above a whisper, said she was holed up in an old motel on the edge of the next town over, the last place she could find before the cracks swallowed the highway behind her. She said at first it was like everywhere else, empty streets, frozen cars, stiff air, but then she saw them, figures moving between the frozen people. Thin, wrong, walking real slow like they had all the time in the world because, well, they do now, don't they? She said they looked human at first, close enough you could fool yourself if you didn't stare too hard, but then you noticed the little things. The way their limbs bent a little wrong, the way they moved through frozen crowds without disturbing. A single thing, not weaving between people, passing through them, like smoke or static. She said one of them turned its head toward her. Didn't have a face. Not really. Just this blurry patch where the features should have been, like someone smeared, a wet painting across its skull. She ran. Of course she did, wouldn't you? Said she locked herself in the motel bathroom with a flashlight and a handful of batteries. Said she could still hear them moving outside the door, not knocking, not scratching, just pacing, waiting, like they knew she'd crack eventually. And that's the part that really stuck with me. They're patient. They don't have to rush. Time doesn't mean anything to them now. They can wait days, weeks, years if they want. We're the ones still tied to minutes and hours. Still breaking ourselves against clocks that don't tick anymore. They're already free. And when they find you, when you stumble too close to one, you don't freeze right away. First, you slow down. Just a little. Your steps get heavier. Your thoughts stretch out. And by the time you realize what's happening, it's already too late. You're already part of the stillness, already woven into whatever new thing the world's turning into. I can feel it now. That slowness creeping up my spine. Words sticking heavier to my tongue. Thoughts dragging like they're trudging through molasses. I'm fighting it, hard as I can, but it's getting closer. It's already inside the cracks, already inside me. Still here, still talking, still moving. For now. It's not just my body slowing down anymore. It's my head, too. Little things at first, like forgetting what song I just played, or losing track of what story I was telling halfway through it. Now, it's bigger. Whole chunks of the night missing, like someone's blacked them out with a marker. I'll look up at the clock, yeah, the busted one, and even though it hasn't moved, I'll swear hours have passed. Or maybe seconds. It's getting harder to tell the difference. I got another call earlier, maybe the last one I'll get, I don't know. The guy said he couldn't remember how he got where he was, said he left work like normal, got in his car, started driving home. Next thing he knew, he was standing in the middle of a frozen supermarket, hand still clutched around a loaf of bread he didn't remember picking up. No keys, no car, no memory of the last however many miles between him and there. He said the aisles were filled with people just standing there. Shoppers frozen mid-push with their carts, kids stuck mid-grab for candy on the shelves, even the loudspeakers were stuck. droning one long broken note over and over, and there were gaps, too. Whole sections of the store missing, like someone had taken a giant eraser to the world and just scrubbed out whatever they didn't need anymore. He said he kept walking anyway, because what else do you do? Every few steps he'd forget why he was walking at all. Forget who he was looking for. Forget who he even was. Just a guy clutching a loaf of bread in a place where time forgot how to move. He said he could feel something watching him, not with eyes exactly. More like with memory. Like whatever was left behind was feeding on the parts of himself he didn't even realize were slipping away. He asked me what he should do. I told him to drop the bread. Drop everything. Run if he still could. Remember anything he could. His name, his home, anything real. Anchor himself to it. Because once you forget enough, once you let go of the last thread tying you to yourself, you're not just frozen. You're erased. Rewritten into whatever empty script the stillness needs next. After that, the call cut out. Not even a click. Just gone. And now I'm sitting here, watching the console, trying to remember which buttons do what. Trying to remember why I started this broadcast tonight. Trying to remember my own name. Because it's slipping. I can feel it. Memories flickering like dying light bulbs. I'm still here. Still talking. Still trying, but I don't know for how much longer. I was losing it. Losing everything. But then I looked up, out the grimy little window above the sound booth, and I saw it, hanging over the trees, way out past the fields. Not a star, not a plane. It was huge, round, pulsing slow and heavy, like the whole sky was breathing. At first I thought it was the moon, just smeared by the fog, but no. It was wrong. It looked like a clock, a giant black clock face hanging dead in the air. No hands, though, just that endless pulse, rippling across, the sky like a heartbeat stretched out too far. It wasn't bright either, more like an absence of light. A hole burned into the night. The moment I saw it, everything around me shifted. The walls of the station seemed smaller, the air thicker, the lights flickered harder, struggling to stay alive, and the sound, it got weird. The hum from the equipment changed pitch, low and rattling like it was being pulled apart from the inside. I pressed my face against the glass, trying to get a better look. The thing wasn't moving. It didn't drift or float. It just hung there, staring down at everything like it was waiting for something. Waiting for us to notice it. Waiting for us to understand what we already knew deep down. That it's in control now. That time doesn't belong to us anymore. Maybe it never really did. I keep thinking about how every clock in here froze. How every second feels like it's stretching longer and longer. It's not random. It's not chaos. It's a countdown. Just without the numbers. Just the slow, steady erasure of everything that used to matter, and now that thing's here, hanging over us like a judgment. I think it's been here for a while, too. Long before the cities froze, long before the streets cracked apart. We just didn't see it until it wanted us to. I tried calling out on the open line, asking if anyone else could see it, but the static's getting worse. Either they can't hear me, or they're already gone. I'm not sure which one's worse. The clock in the sky doesn't care. It's not rushing. It's not desperate. It's just waiting. Watching. Measuring the final flickers of what's left before it decides to stop even pretending. We matter. I'm still talking, though. Still trying to send something out into the cracks before they close for good. Still here. For now. After the clock showed up, everything changed. The air inside the station feels like soup now. Heavy, slow. Like every move I make has to push through a wall that's thicker than it was 5 minutes ago. Feels like even the sound of my voice is dragging, stretching out longer than it should. Like time's getting pulled apart in here too. I tried tuning. Through the channels again, just flipping through, desperate to find someone else still out there. Used to be, you could hear a dozen stations bleeding into each other late at night. Music, preachers, truckers calling in from lonely highways. Now, dead air, one after another. Silence. A couple of them are stuck on emergency broadcast loops. You know the ones, those flat robotic voices telling you to shelter in place, stay calm, wait for assistance. But the loops aren't right anymore. They're broken, clipping in weird places, repeating half sentences. Stay calm, stay calm, stay calm, stay. Over and over, until you can't tell if it's a warning or a lullaby. It's like even the machines forgot what they were supposed to do when time. Quit on them. I'm still here though, still holding on to this little pocket of noise, this last stubborn spark against whatever's crawling in through the cracks. I know it won't last. I can feel the static thickening, bleeding into the wires, turning every word I say into molasses. But as long as there's even the tiniest chance, someone's out there listening, even if it's just static bouncing off the frozen edges of the world, I'm going to keep talking. Because once the airwaves go silent, once there's nothing left but the clock in the sky and the frozen streets, below it, that's it. That's when we'll know it's over. That's when the stillness wins. I keep thinking about the first night I ever sat behind this mic. Young, nervous, full of bad jokes and too much coffee. The world felt endless back then. Time felt like it stretched out in front of me forever. Now it's a hallway getting narrower by the second. Walls closing in, lights going out one by one, and all I can do is walk a little further down it, keep moving, keep speaking, even as the darkness chews away the path behind me. Even if no one's left to hear it, even if the signal's just a memory by the time it hits whatever's left of the sky. Still here, still fighting, still moving. Right after I finished talking, I heard it. Low. Barely there under the hum of the equipment, a ticking. Not from the clocks, not from the board or the emergency systems. It wasn't even coming through the speakers exactly. It was somewhere deeper, somewhere inside the station itself, a slow, hollow tick, 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 tick. It didn't match anything, no pattern I could recognize, no steady rhythm you could tap your foot to. It was wrong, sloppy, like someone trying to remember how time is supposed to work but getting it a little more broken every second. I sat there listening, counting in my head, trying to line it up with the seconds I thought I still understood. It didn't match. Sometimes it sped up. Sometimes it dragged out so long I thought it had stopped for good. And then it would start again. Got a call right about then. One of the last ones, maybe. The voice was slurred, like it was moving through tar to reach me. He said he could hear it too, said everyone he knows could hear it now, said it was coming from the sky, from the giant clock hanging over the cities. But there was no countdown. No. Numbers flashing down toward 0. Just the ticking, and every time it ticked, something else stopped. First the cities, then the smaller towns, then the roads between them. He said his dog froze mid-bark this morning, just locked up with his teeth bared, eyes wide, like a statue left in a war zone. His neighbors didn't even make it back inside, just froze right there on their porches, half waving at him like they thought they had one more second left. And him? He said he can feel it crawling through him now, slowing him down, pulling his bones tight like a marionette running out of strings. He said he's sitting in his living room with the TV stuck on one frame, the clock above the mantel frozen at some random time he doesn't even remember setting, waiting for the next tick, waiting for the moment when even thinking stops. I didn't know what to say. There's no fighting this, no hiding from it. It's not coming for us like a monster. It's not roaring down the streets with teeth and claws. It's patient, polite almost, just slipping in between heartbeats, between breaths, between memories, until there's nothing left. Just another frozen second dangling in a sky that forgot how to move. The ticking's louder now, closer, feels like it's echoing inside my chest. Every word I say feels heavier, like it's trying to sink back down, into the ground, instead of flying out into the air. But I'm still here, still talking, still trying to outrun the next tick, even if I know it's going to catch me sooner or later. The ticking hasn't stopped. If anything, it's getting louder. Not just in my ears either. It's in the walls now, in the floor under my boots, in the air sitting heavy in my lungs. Every time it hits, something inside this building gets a little slower, a little heavier. I tried to stand up a few minutes ago. Thought maybe if I could just stretch my legs, shake it off, I could push it back a little longer. But it felt like trying to move underwater, like my bones didn't remember how to be bones anymore. I stayed in the chair. Safer. Maybe, or maybe I just don't have the strength left to do anything else. The booth's smaller too. I know it's not supposed to be, but it is. The walls are closer. The lights are dimmer, not because the bulbs are burning out, but because the light itself's slowing down, like it's getting tired too. I can barely see the soundboard now. The switches, the dials, all blurry at the edges, like the stillness is eating away at the sharp parts first. It's not creeping in anymore. It's here, slithering through the gaps, pooling in the corners, waiting under the desk, behind the cables, seeping into the seams between everything. I caught a glimpse of it earlier, just out of the corner of my eye. Not a shape exactly. Not a shadow. More like a memory of motion that isn't moving anymore. Thick and cold, and so patient. The air smells wrong, too. Not rotten, not chemical, just empty. Like all the oxygen's been stripped out and replaced with something that doesn't want me to breathe. I'm trying to stay focused. Trying to stay here. Trying to keep. The words coming even as the stillness wraps tighter around my throat. Because if I stop now, if I let the silence win, that's it. The station goes dark. The last signal goes silent. The last voice folds into the frozen air like all the others. And the clock in the sky, the one with no hands, no numbers, no mercy, will finish what it started. I'm not ready for that. Not yet. Even if my body's forgetting how to move. Even if my mind's flickering like a bad fluorescent bulb. Even if the stillness is already pooling inside my chest, dripping slow and steady into the places where time used to live. I'm still here. Still talking. Still fighting, even if the words are dragging like chains behind me. The end's close now. I can feel it humming in my teeth. But I'll hold on a little, longer, even if it's just for one more breath, one more beat, one more stubborn, broken second. It's harder now. Every word feels like it's dragging through molasses, like my mouth's moving slower than my thoughts. Or maybe my thoughts are the ones slowing and the words are just trying to keep up. Doesn't really matter anymore. The station's almost silent now. The hum of the equipment's faded to this thin, broken line, like a heart monitor flatlining in slow motion. The lights overhead aren't flickering anymore. They're just dim. Barely there, like they're too tired to keep pretending everything's fine. I can't feel my fingers on the mic anymore. Can't tell if I'm gripping it or if it's just sitting there, held in place by stubborn memory. Outside the booth, the world's vanished into this heavy gray fog. No shapes, no streets, no horizon. Just endless still air stretching out into forever. I wonder if the clock in the sky is still there. Probably is. Probably. Still pulsing its slow, endless heartbeat across the frozen landscape, marking the moments that don't matter anymore. I wonder if the people out there even know they're frozen, or if it just feels like blinking, like stepping sideways into a place where everything's soft and warm and waiting. Maybe that's what's waiting for me, too. Maybe when the words stop, when the last syllable hangs in the air and never quite lands, it'll feel like sleep. Easy. Quiet. Final. I'm trying to hold on, trying to keep the broadcast alive just a little longer. One last messy burst of sound before the world finishes curling, up and closing down. I don't even know if anyone's still listening. Doesn't matter. This was never about the numbers. Never about the reach. It was about not letting the stillness have the last word. About filling the cracks with noise. About reminding the silence that we were here, that we mattered, that we fought. And even if no one remembers, even if the last echo of my voice fades into the fog like it was never there, at least it'll be a sound the stillness can't erase. Not completely. Not yet. I'm still here. Still talking. Still. The words catch in my throat. The mic crackles, ticking from the sky hammers once, twice, louder than before. The world leans sideways, tilting into the kind of quiet that you can feel scraping against your teeth. And I